stands alone, we'll stand side by side. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide, draw it wider still. Let this be our song. No one stands alone, standing side by side. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide, draw it wider still. Let this be our song. No one stands alone, standing side by side. Draw the circle wide.
Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide. No one stands alone, we'll stand side by side. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide, draw it wider still. Let this be our song. No one stands alone, standing side by side. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide, draw it wider still. Let this be our song. No one stands alone, standing side by side. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide, draw it wider still. Let this be our song. No one stands alone, standing side by side. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide, draw it wider still. Let this be our song. No one stands alone, standing side by side. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide.
Well, good morning and welcome everyone to the Namaqua Unitarian Universalist Congregation. My name is Laurel Liefert, and I have the honor of serving this intelligent, curious, passionate, justice-loving group of seekers. So welcome one and all to what will be a very special service. It may go a little bit long today, but since we're on Zoom, you are free to do what you need to do. But today is featuring our dear Trish Murtha, who later this month will be making her way back home, though she'll always have Loveland as her home. And so I wonder, besides Anne, her stepmother, a special welcome to you. Do we have any others who are new to our circle today? And if so, maybe you could raise your hand or type your name into the chat and let us know if you'd like to hear more about our congregation. So does anybody see anyone? Oh, Mary, it's good to have you here today. And I am going to mention something at the end about our first ever Juneteenth Freedom Celebration. All right, well, it's so good to see all of your faces. You know, Namaqua has a mission statement that we read occasionally, and I thought this would be a good day to remind ourselves of our North Star, of our reason for being. The Namaqua Unitarian Universalist congregation fosters a beloved community that celebrates diversity, strives for peace and justice, acts mindfully for the good of the planet, and inspires spiritual growth through a free and loving search for truth and meaning. And so what we're doing here together this morning and all of our days and nights together is building a beloved community. And so once again, welcome to all of you. We are recording the service and we still have Zoom as our way to get together on Sundays, but believe me, the end of the tunnel is showing some light that is shimmering, that brings hope to my heart. And I really look forward to seeing more of you in person very soon. And so today I am doing the chalice lighting. This is what was printed on the top of the order of service. It's a poem by Rumi. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. The door is open. Don't go back to sleep. Come, let us worship together. And Trish has some opening remarks.
Good morning and welcome to exploring the theme of play. Ironically, the concept of play is pretty complicated because it requires being fully in the place of risk and moving into that place of vulnerability with aplomb, with fearlessness. Be vulnerable. The rewards are limitless. I've shared this short, succinct prayer with you before, but to me it bears repeating. An Irish fisherman safely at harbor says, "Dear Lord, be good to me. The sea is so wide and my boat is so small." Isn't this prayer based on two important things? Realism and hope. Tiny boat, big ocean. He knows the risk, but in spite of the realities, our fisherman sets sail, a family to feed, and he asks for help. Hope and vision partner in the face of real vulnerability. We probably all have tiny boat, big ocean stories and prayers in us. In fact, they may guide our everyday. So we gather here in this extraordinary place of community, the Namaqua boat, that we continue to build together. Today, I leave you behind, my companions, but with immense love. I have become more fearless and more consequently whole. I have learned so much from you. As a child, I learned to sail with my dad on Cape Cod in a really small, very old sailboat. His first lessons were to watch the pattern of the wind on the water and to look up at the sails, and when the canvas lufts a little, the wind is changing and it's time to chart a new course. And so I do. This is one of our congregation's most favorite hymns, and we're going to have that next. It's one I can never sing, so I'm glad we're just recording because it moves me greatly, as do you.
feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
All right, my dear ship's companions, you kindred pilgrim souls, let's recite our congregational affirmation together. In unison, love is the spirit of this church and service its call. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Thank you. And now our remarkable ministerial intern for the next 2 years, Claire, has a story to share with us.
So I was really honored when Trish asked me to read this morning. And so we're going to read this incredible book by Grace Byers with pictures by Katora Ebobo called I Am Enough. And I would love to read this book as a blessing to you, Trish, on your journey, and as a reminder to all of us, but especially to you today, that you are enough. Like the sun, I'm here to shine. Like the voice, I'm here to sing. Like the bird, I'm here to fly and soar high over everything. Like the trees, I'm here to grow. Like the mountains, here to stand. Like time, I'm here to be and be everything I can. Like the champ, I'm here to fight. Like the heart, I'm here to love. Like a ladder, here to climb, and like the air, to rise above. Like the wind, I'm here to push. Like a rope, I'm here to pull. Like the rain, I'm here to pour and drip and fall until I'm full. Like the moon, I'm here to dream, and like the student, here to learn. Like the water, here to swell, like the fire, here to burn. Like the winner, here to win, and if I don't, get up again. Hazelnut also wants to be part of this reading today. I know that I may sometimes cry, but even then, I'm here to try. I'm not meant to be like you. You're not meant to be like me. Sometimes we'll get along and sometimes we'll disagree. I know that we don't look the same, our skin, our eyes, our hair, our frame. But that does not dictate our worth. We both have places here on earth. And in the end, we're right here to live a life of love, not fear. To help each other when it's tough. And to say together, say it with me, I am enough.
Thank you, Claire. And what's your cat's name?
Hazelnut.
So Hazelnut wanted to hear the story too. All right, so thank you. Very special book. And now is the time for us to share our joys and sorrows. This is one of the significant ways that we weave our tapestry of love that we call community. And I would actually like to begin by celebrating something that some of you may have been aware of. Let's see, so Danny Fox, you must have been maybe 7 or 8 when I first met you. So Danny Fox is daughter of Katie and sister of Mael, and she had a very significant rite of passage because Danny graduated from high school. So Danny, can you put yourself, let's see, I don't see you. Let's put our views on speaker view. And Danny, if you want to unmute and everybody else mute, say a few words about what graduating from high school has meant to you and what it's been like for you and your family to be part of the Namaqua community for these past many, many years.
Wow. I mean, graduating high school it was definitely scary. I wasn't ready, and then it just kind of hit me like, wow, I did it, you know, like I finished 16, I don't know how many, a lot of years of school, too many. So, you know, it was definitely like a punch to the gut. At first I was like, oh, it's over, but now I feel really good about it. It's almost like opened my eyes about like, I can do it, and I did it, and I finished, even though I didn't think that I would or could. Yeah, but this congregation has been so amazing in supporting me through my journey, not only, you know, figuring out who I am and who I like, but just helping me even through school, you know, knowing that I had people there who had my back. It was super amazing.
Well, I hope you feel how much we love you and we'll continue to support you. You are launched in some significant way. If we were together in the sanctuary, I would have invited you to come up to the chancel and I would have presented you physically with some books that I have gotten for you. I remember, and maybe you still do this, but when you used to carry your ukulele everywhere you went.
I do. I still.
And I'm hoping that maybe this year, and I hope if you're around, you can be part of it, that we will resurrect our ukulele, our ukes. But I have for you, and I will get to you, 2 ukulele songbooks that go with our wishes that music will always be a part of your life and that you are always a part of us and we will always be a part of you. And at this point, I would give you a big hug. And I think that let's all, you can even unmute for a second. Let's all whistle and clap to wish Danny congratulations.
Yay!
Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations. Yay. Woohoo.
Cool.
So proud.
Mhm.
So Danny, congratulations. And this is both an end and a beginning. And so we will be with you as you go on your way. And we are so proud to be part of your life.
Sure.
And so now let me open it up to others of you who may have joys or sorrows to share. So if so, would you please put your name into the chat box and I'll call on you and then you can unmute and share with your community something in your life. Janet Gillette.
Where?
I won't go into the whole thing, but last July, my cat Diego was diagnosed with several terminal illnesses. And this Tuesday, he has an appointment to go home to heaven. Can't explain it all, but that's all I can say.
Yeah, I know how much you love him. So I have your name and Michelle, your daughter's name, and Diego's name on my altar. So we'll be thinking about you on Tuesday. Oh. And Tracy, would you like to unmute?
I know this is like long-winded and people are probably getting tired of this, but next week I fly to Boston for my big surgery. I'm really nervous, but hopeful that this might be the answer to my continued ER ICU visits. Because I've been in and out of ICU too much, and so hopefully they can fix my trachea, and this will be the end of it. Well, hopefully, I'm hoping that the Boston doctors can have some answers. So,
well, we hope that too, Tracy. And your name is on my altar as well. And I've been forgetting to put our stones in. So for Danny and Diego and Janet and Tracy, our blessings and thoughts will go with you, Tracy. And we'll see you when you get back. So Trish, you have something you'd like to share?
I do. Of course, I'll be sharing all through the service, but this in particular, I've often talked with you during Joys and Sorrows about my daughter, Anna, who lives in Denver, and we've really struggled. She'll be 30 next month. How did that happen? And we've had a breakthrough. And she asked her counselor if we could have a joint session, which we did a couple weeks ago. And I believe we're going to see each other. She wants to come and say goodbye, and also to get the piano that I have here, which is the piano she learned to play on and to love music. So thank you for upholding me through this. And I don't know where it will go, but I'm hopeful. Yes, thank you.
So Trish, for you and Anna, Rini, you have something to share?
Okay. We've had 3 Zoom visits this week with family, which have been really nice. Our youngest grandson, who lives in Scotland, has graduated. Graduation over there just means you leave school. There's no ceremony or recognition or anything. So he does miss out on that, but we did Zoom with him, and he's hopefully off to Aberdeen University in Scotland. And then the next day, his older brother Teddy Zoomed with us from St. Andrews, where he just completed his 2nd year. And that's the first time he's Zoomed with us. And we haven't seen either of those boys in 2 or 3 years. So that was nice. And then last night, I had a Zoom conference with one of my oldest nephews who lives in Coeur d'Alene. And I haven't seen or talked to him for 10 years. And it was really nice. So we've had a good week this week.
Well, and the blessings of Zoom.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, and we even had an in-person visit with a couple that we've been friends with. We haven't seen for a few months. So yeah, we had a good week.
Well, that's great, Rini. Glad to have you with us, and thanks. Say hi to John.
Will do.
And John Lewis.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, good. Hey, we just got back from a wonderful weekend in Denver and Loveland, visiting my daughter and her husband and 2 grandchildren. And we went up to Loveland yesterday for the big Kids Day Fishing Derby at North Lake, or the Duck Pond, as they say now, up there and by the Loveland High School. And of the 500 kid competitors, my grandson won the largest rainbow of all.
Whoa.
Okay,
Wow.
co-winner, I say winner. Anyway, he won a big, a beautiful rod and reel, a tackle box full of lures and other kinds of paraphernalia for good fishing, and it was a wonderful day. And seeing the guys in the fishing club and the gals in the fishing club was such a wonderful time, high time for us. So,
All right.
It was a great day.
Yep, I know how much you love fishing. So chip off the old block.
Right.
All right, thanks, John. And Pedro, did you want to share?
No, I don't think I have anything to share today. I just, when I typed in the chat, I was just giving Janet my
Oh, right, for Janet and Diego.
because they're family to us, and
Right.
losing a fur baby like that, it can be really rough.
It is. I know. I'll put in another one for Diego and all of us for baby lovers. And Nicole Gilbert also says, so sad to say goodbye to Diego. So I don't know, Nicole, do you want to say something in person or just leave it at that? And Katie Fox, proud mother of Danny. Oh, actually, it's Danny who's saying thank you to everyone. So she gives lots of hugs and kisses to us. And then Steve also gives some love. And Cindy and Firmer, did you want to go ahead and share something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that Firmer and I celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary on June 1st.
Well done. Congratulations. So happy anniversary to you and Firmer.
Thank you.
And then Brenda Christensen, who has no mic today, wanted to share 2 joys. That Way, her husband, and Brenda celebrated 23 years of marriage last week. And, well, so I'll put in a stone for your anniversary. And then last week, Brenda was accepted into a long COVID care study program in Utah. And so the first visit will be in 2 weeks. And Brenda, who has been a long hauler with COVID for well over a year, is now hopeful for relief. And oh boy, we all are hopeful. So we'll look forward to hearing from you, Brenda, when you get back from Utah. And then Mary Bayhouse Meyer, go ahead and unmute.
Can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
I just wanted to say that we're very happy that Satori has finished your 3rd year of college.
Wow.
Yeah, it's hard to believe she's that old now. Yeah, so she just finished her 3rd year at CU Boulder, and she's looking for a new apartment so that she and her sweetie don't have to share with 3 other roommates.
Uh-huh. And her sweetie Jay?
Yes.
Yes. Well, that's great. So Satori was a part of Namaqua actually before I came. So these kids are really blossoming into young adults. So please congratulate her for us.
I will. Thank you.
Okay. And is there anyone else who wanted to say something this morning? As always, I put in some additional stones to represent the joys and sorrows that may be in the hearts of people who are here with us today. Maybe it's something too tender or you feel shy, but no one stands alone. And we also send out our love and support and comfort to the world. So beyond our community, there are joys and there are sorrows, and we are all connected in the interdependent web of existence. And so our song, our musical response is from Wicked. This song is called For Good, and you may want to turn up your sound.
I've heard it said that people come into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn, and we are led to those who help us most to grow if we let them, and we help them in return. Well, I don't know if I believe that's true, but I know I'm who I am today because I knew you. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you, I have been changed for good. It well may be that we may never meet again in this lifetime. So let me say before we part, so much of me is made from what I've learned from you. You'll be with me like a handprint on my heart. And now whatever way our stories end, I know you have rewritten mine by being my friend. Like a ship blown from its mooring by the wind off the sea, like a seed dropped by a skybird in a distant wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you, because I knew you, I have been changed for good. And just to clear the air, I ask forgiveness for the things I've done you blame me for. seems to matter anymore. Like a ship alone from its moorings by the wind off the sea, like a seed dropped by a bird in the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? I do believe I have been changed for the better. And because I knew you, because I knew you, because I knew you, I have been changed for good.
John O'Donohue was an amazing Irish poet. And our reading this morning is from his Book of Blessings. It's called For the Artist at the Start of the Day. May morning be astir with the harvest of night. Your mind quickening to the eros of a new question. Your eyes seduced by some unintended glimpse that cut right through the surface to a source. May this be a morning of innocent beginning, when the gift within you slips clear of the sticky web of the personal with its hurt and its hauntings and fixed fortress corners. A morning when you become a pure vessel for what wants to ascend from silence. May your imagination know the grace of perfect danger. To reach beyond imitation and the wheel of repetition, deep into the call of all the unfinished and unsolved, until the veil of the unknown yields of something original begins, and something original begins to stir toward your senses and grow stronger in your heart. In order to come to birth in a clean line of form that claims from time a rhythm not yet heard, a rhythm not yet heard, that calls space to a different shape, that calls space to a different shape. May it be its own force field and dwell uniquely between the heart and the light, to surprise the hungry eye by how deftly it fits about its secret loss. May it be its own force field and dwell uniquely between the heart and the light, to surprise the hungry eye by how deftly it fits about its secret loss. We have so many artists in this congregation. It's one of our abundant blessings that we have in this community. And our offering this quarter is for the Loveland Youth Gardeners. And so the Loveland Youth Gardeners has been a friend of Namaqua's for many, many years, cultivating kids and food. And Aiden Christensen, as I've mentioned before, is actually participating this summer. He loves it. He comes home, his mother says, tired and dirty with a big smile on his face. And there are now farm stand Fridays. So the Loveland Youth Gardeners is open for business every Friday. The youth participating in the program will be selling their fresh picked produce, garden plants, flowers, and Loveland Youth Gardeners merchandise. So it will be at 2500 East First Street on Friday, June 11th, 18th, 25th. They accept credit cards, personal checks, and of course cash. So I hope that some of you will come and partake of their wares. And so our offertory music, the donate button is there, and you can also contribute by mailing in your collection, your donations. And the offertory is Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield. Oh, wow. Yeah. We dedicate ourselves, and these are offerings, to the vision of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love we call community. As together we work to build beloved community. Thank you. Trish, take it away.
I want to apologize. I got a signal that said your internet is unstable. And then it went, pew. So I've relocated. Hopefully I won't get cut off. Oh my goodness.
Yikes, we can't hear you, Trish.
I think she got cut off.
Hmm.
Hopefully she'll rejoin. There she is. She's connecting to audio.
Okay, great.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Oh gosh, we really are a wabi-sabi bunch, aren't we? One of the reasons I was in another spot was because the last time when we did the Easter service, we had kitty, we had church bells, we had fire engines outside the window. So anyway, I'm going to duke it out. So I called today's and Happy Trails and the Grace of Perfect Danger. And I hope you'll understand when we get to the end that, first of all, that's part of the poem that Laurel just read by John Donahue, The Grace of Perfect Danger, which I think just means the grace of being human, because we all are always vulnerable, even though when we don't know it. Well, my reflection today may seem somewhat disjointed, which is how it feels in the remaining 2 weeks before I move to Brattleboro, Vermont. As always, I count on your patience and love. Do you remember the fabulous film called Shakespeare in Love? A play within a play within a film, and a parody on Romeo and Juliet. The film is one of my favorites for many reasons, particularly the multi-layered plot, a series of twists and turns and humor and love and villains. The character of Philip Henslowe, who was truly the owner of the Rose Theater, is played by actor Jeffrey Rush, one of my favorites. He's about to be assaulted for the failure to stage a new production, no money, no time, weak actors, and even an unfinished script. But Rush halts his accusers by saying that the nature of the theater is a series of insurmountable obstacles on the way to imminent disaster. It makes me laugh, but I wonder sometimes if that's not how we feel about life, especially when things are tough. But he assures them that, strangely enough, however, anything will turn out well. And when they ask him how, he says, I don't know. It's a mystery. So will it? It's a mystery called life. We must be hopeful. So says Emily Dickinson in her 1861 poem, Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul. Dickinson's words create the image of a strong-willed bird that lives within the human soul and sings its hopeful song no matter what. A strong-willed bird. I'm trying to be that now, but I am wavering today between being here with you and all the juggling to move away, to start over in a new place. The tide isn't suddenly high and then suddenly low. The moon guides the waters and they never stop moving. I think that's how the process of change works in people too. So we must all be strong-willed birds. It also dawns on me too that all change must include grief of some kind, a whisper deep within, even if we don't hear it or want to listen. So here I am, balanced or unbalanced, wavering on the seesaw, one leg on either side of the fulcrum, excitement, fear, adventure, and grief. In order to foster, absorb, and respond to change, we really can't fight the tides within us. And it seems we have to be our own moon gravity and become a catalyst for change that keeps chaos at bay, starting first from that place of deep vulnerability. Such a belief is one I try to live by and have learned about, particularly from the research of sociologist Brené Brown. Her books and teachings are a powerful resource to people in several generations, such as her 2012 book titled Daring Greatly: How the Courage to be Vulnerable Transforms the Way We Live, Love, Parent, and Lead. The book is a culmination of 12 years of social research into the courage of people who show up and let themselves be seen, even when there are no guarantees. Well, the facts are in. They challenge everything we think and know about vulnerability. The research dispels the widely accepted myth that admitting to or showing our vulnerability is a weakness. Brown argues that vulnerability is, in fact, a strength. And when we shut ourselves off from revealing our true selves, we grow distant from the things that bring purpose and meaning to our lives. You may have noticed that I have a habit of using lots of imagery and symbolism. I tend to translate and grasp intangible and philosophical or theoretical ideas that way. Teachers today would say that I'm a visual learner. It's how I'm able to explain or understand what's going on. I can't seem to help that images simply jump into my head uninvited, but they're not unfamiliar. Perhaps an image is something I've dreamed or invented, or it emerges from a past memory or inspiration, like sailing with my dad. When I think about life and the things I strive for, sometimes I have a clear picture of the world I want for myself and for my family, for all of humanity. I can see every shape and every nuance, but I'm not in it. I'm inside a glass sphere with my hopes and goals and wishes on the other side, blocked by the glass. I can't go there. I can't touch it or be in it. I can only observe. I wonder if it's like one of those snow globes, why they're so fascinating to us. What if the scene inside, the tiny figures of the snowman or elves or animals, can sense that we're looking in at them? Can they see us shaking away and smiling as we watch the snow settling? As soon as it does, we shake it up again. I wonder if there's a message in all of that for our lives. See, there I go again. Perhaps the fact that my barricade is glass is a good thing, and it means it can be cracked and broken down. That because I can keep an eye on what I want and keep my vision alive, I think that hope drives me, even when I feel separate from it. In the deep, lush forest of inspirations and writings that we have access to, I've recently discovered a new treasure, an artist-writer named Jan Richardson. I cannot encourage you enough to seek her out. I think you'll want to do so after hearing this prayer from her work called Night Visions. God of our hopes and dreams, when I scan other skies for signs of hope, And when I walk other paths with a longing for home, God of the exile, lead me back through my own door. Tell me my forgotten stories. Feed me the words I have given away, and draw my gaze from the far horizon, that I may see the lights in my own sky. We see the signs, but cannot always divine their meanings. You call us to move forward, not always knowing whether what we grasp in our hands will prove to be a seed of hope or a thorn in our flesh. Train our fingers that what brings life we may with persistence hold, and that which wastes our souls we may with grace release. In the name of all we call holy. Amen. After reading this prayer several times and embracing Jan Richards' inspiration, my glass sphere has become new to me. Could it be that I can stop looking outward and look inward instead to what is tangible and resourceful and lies within me? Instead of the distant horizon, can I not look down at my own hands and feet and find what I need because it is already who I am? Any Buddhist would answer, yes, of course. I remember the first time I painted and the sheer delight in every cell of my psyche. It was inexpressible, this thing of wonder happening at the end of a brush. I was the conductor of a symphony. Actually, I was again the observer. Water and paper and minerals were having a watercolor party. I was merely the hostess, or perhaps just a guest. If you've never witnessed this phenomenon, you should. It's the magic of watercolor, but also the challenge whenever you set out to create a particular result. But it's the adult in us that's expecting results, expecting successful results. But what if we didn't? What if we simply played? Does a child wriggle in her seat when you pull into the parking lot at the playground because she has a plan, an agenda, a way things have to turn out at the playground? No, she darts towards the swings and then spots the twirligig and darts in that direction. But if she were 65 instead of 5, we would really be worried. But this 5-year-old is so full of fearlessness and delight that she is unable to contain herself. And that's admirable, I think. So why does that seem weird if a 65-year-old grandma were to behave the same way? Pablo Picasso, awesome artist and horrible man that he was, said, every child is an artist. The problem is how to remain an artist when he grows up. Is it possible to be fearless as an adult? The slings and arrows of life have penetrated and scar tissue builds up. The child, not so much. Fear and suspicion can grow in us. We have experienced hot objects. Plus, we have determined to accept and live by cultural conventions. We acquiesce and bow to living on a wary precipice much of the time. We're aware of being watched. That's a big challenge as an artist. No, let me rephrase that. It's the biggest challenge. First, one must be fearless to put brush to paper, fingers to keyboard, baton to orchestra, pen to paper. But what about scalpel to human skin? Get on the airplane. Look for something you haven't seen before under the microscope to find an answer again and again. But all around you are the results of people creating and solving problems in the midst of fear. They are tethered to some extent by their fear, but they sing anyway. They do it anyway. The lyrics to a song, how many times rewritten. The paint on a canvas, how many times scraped off. The marble of a sculpture, cracked in the wrong place. An experiment to solve a virus. Explored and explored and explored again until there is an answer. We have to learn to nurture the fearless child so that she darts off again with aplomb, even in the face of not quite getting there yet, with panache. My grandmother, Helen McIntosh Murtha, was an extraordinary, admirable woman, born ahead of her time, as we say. I learned that she was creative and persevering, probably because she had to be, But there was something more as well. After excelling in design courses in high school, Grandma went to the Pratt Institute of Design in New York. But in 1917, she left Pratt and enlisted in the Navy, a yeomanette and the Navy's only woman draftsperson in World War I. She reported every day to a huge building on South Manhattan's Navy Pier, and in a football-sized workspace. Her male colleagues neither welcomed her nor trusted her work, checking it every day when she took her brown bag and went to lunch. I've sometimes wondered about Grandma's favorite psalm, but then I don't wonder at all. Psalm 123. I learned it by heart as a child, and when my own adult life got complicated and painful, I surmise that the verse offers promises that are both grounding and uplifting. If you know it, the psalmist's words promise a lifetime of still waters, a restored soul, goodness and mercy for all of our days. I think it gave my grandmother both strength and vision to create ways to make things work for her family when they were so difficult. A psalm for respite and hope that I keep close to my heart. There is love and wisdom that flows into every living soul, the all-loving Creator that warms every heart. We acknowledge our need to be fed by Sacred Spirit, our call to create a heaven on earth, a beloved community, to give of ourselves to one another. Indeed, Namaqua has been my respite, a welcome harbor for so long. You have fed this strong-willed bird, and now I spread my wings and fly away. I want no more than a few miles of American landscape to lie between us, not even glass. I am grateful, and I leave you with this from Mary Ellen Chase's Gateless Garden. There is a kind of waiting upon the graciousness and bounty of the things which have been, in order that the things to come might find one free and unafraid. So, ta-da! With the grace of perfect danger, I set sail in a boatload of hope. You have been a collective, living, breathing, beloved Namaqua community and are imprinted on my heart. Happy trails, and I can't wait to be among you again.
Oh, dear Trish, so beautiful. You know, your legacy with us is very tangible. This morning I went into the church and took a picture of something that we made together on one Friday night down at the bottom of the Pulliam building. So for those of you who may not know, this is our symbol as a congregation, and Trish is the artist who gave it to us. Also in the Aspen room, there's a stained glass window with the chalice and the rainbow aspen leaves. This was created for us by Dan O'Brien's wife, and then it was Bob Jeffries who made the frame for it. I am wearing our stole. This is the stole that was given to me when I was installed as Namaqua's minister. And the design was by Trish, and it was Vaughn Zdenek and I think Judy Cunningham and others who made it. And you know, when people join the church, they sign. And then a few years ago, we had so many new members that Trish had to add some additional aspen trunks so that other names could be added. And so Trish, wow. We wish you happy trails. And we have a very fun idea for our closing song, which is that we would like to have all of you unmute, and our Zoomer, thank you, Chad, will be playing Dale Evans and Roy Rogers singing Happy Trails. And let's go ahead and sing along with gusto. And if you feel like it, you can go. So Trish, we're imagining you clip-clopping out of town in a couple of weeks, and we're wishing you happy trails. Oh, Trish, how can you leave a group like us?
This is the hardest part, believe me. Really is.
Well, here are some words to extinguish our chalice. So dear Trish and all you dearly beloveds, as we extinguish our flaming chalice this morning, may we give thanks for the waves upholding us, hail the great winds urging us on, greet the infinite sea before us, sing the sky our sailor's song. The wide universe is the ocean we travel, and the earth is our blue boat home.
I have one final thing to share with you, which is the most astounding poem by Philip Booth, which I believe I first heard from the lips of our Reverend Laurel in the pulpit. And every time I read it, it gets me. I think of it as you and as Laurel and the universe upholding me. Lie back, daughter. Let your head be tipped back in the cup of my hand. Gently, I will hold you. Spread your arms wide. Lie out in the stream and look high at the gulls. You will dive and swim soon enough where this tide water ebbs to the sea. Daughter, believe me when you tire on the long thrash to your island. Lie up and survive. As you float now where I held you and let go, remember when fear cramps your heart that I told you. Lie gently and wide, light your stars. Lie back and the sea will hold you. I love you all so much.
We love you too, Trish. Lie back and the sea will hold you. What a beautiful way to say goodbye. So this is Trish's last service as a worship associate. I think you know that we love you and we'll go with you. And if you want to give her a physical hug, the plan is that Trish is going to attend our summer solstice ritual on Monday evening. It's June 21st, a high holiday for those of us who love our blue boat home. It'll be the longest day of the year. And so we'll gather in Kathy Hartman's backyard and we'll celebrate, we'll drum, we'll sing, we'll chant, we'll probably do a spiral dance. And then it's the next day, Trish, that you will be heading for Vermont. So I hope that many of you will be able to come to that occasion. And we actually have some amazing things coming up. For one thing, let me begin my announcements by announcing that there actually was a virtual auction last night. Our board president and man of many tricks, Doug Stewart, figured out how to do a virtual auction. And I think that even though the attendance wasn't huge, that we did earn a couple $1,000s in donations and get some additional money with the paddle raiser for a project that we're engaged in, which is to try to pay off our mortgage. And so you are urged, if you got your stimulus check or have any extra pennies lying around, that you donate it to help us pay off the $17,000, which is all that we still owe on our building. And so it was in the email blast this last week and will continue to be. And I think that we are maybe almost or more than halfway there. So I urge you all, if you can afford it, to help chip in for our ship, our Namaqua ship that we're sailing. Another thing is that the half plate donations or half plate dominations, anyway, what we do is we nominate as a congregation the local nonprofits that we want to share our plate with. And so that was also in the email blast. Kathy Hartman now has taken over for Carolyn McCarter, and we thank you, Carolyn, for your work. And so if you have a local nonprofit in mind that you'd like to nominate, the procedure of doing that is in the email blast. And then it's so exciting that we have in-person things coming up, like there's an in-person board game night that's coming on Wednesday, June 9th at 6:30. Also, there will be a Women's Circle Potluck Lunch Reunion in person at Namaqua Park on June 10th. And there's the ongoing meditation group on Thursdays that is now in person. So I think that is just so exciting. You know, we talk about the light at the end of the tunnel. There is real evidence that this is happening. And I mentioned that there's a Juneteenth celebration that will be on Saturday, June 19th at the Foot Lagoon. This will be the first ever celebration of the last enslaved African Americans were read the Emancipation Proclamation that had actually been passed in January of the year. It was 1863, but Texas didn't have all that much communication. It was one of the slave states. And so on June 19th, 1863, the last remaining slaves were emancipated. And so let's celebrate freedom. At the Foot Lagoon, there will be live music, food vendors, Black-owned business booth, and a special Juneteenth presentation. So that will also be in our email blast. So come celebrate Freedom Day. And then our next service, next Sunday, will actually be another opportunity to meet in person. We will meet at Mahaffey Park and celebrate Pride Month. And I'm not quite sure about what we can do about our traditional brunch because of COVID, but watch for some instructions about whether you can bring food to share or you can just bring coffee and water and things for yourself that are wrapped. But I hope that many of you will be able to come and join the June 13th service and maybe brunch at Mahaffey Park. So those are all the announcements that I have to make today. And for our virtual coffee hour, you'll be divided into breakout groups, but Trish is going to be wandering between the groups so that you can say hello and thank her for her beautiful words this morning. So blessings to all of you and take good care.
Hi, Ann. I'm Pete. you gotta unmute.
Mute, unmute. I've been on Zoom a lot, but I've never had this problem. There's something going on here with Trish and me saying goodbye.
You're unmuted.
Okay.
Hi, Ann.
Unmute now.
Yeah, you're good. We can hear you.
I want to go away. I want to get off this. I can't.
Oh, okay. Then you'll have to exit out.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know why I'm having trouble.
Hmm.
Because I'm old and I always have trouble. Wait a minute. Okay, share screen, leave. Goodbye.
All right.
Hello, Marie. Mwah. You're muted, sweetie, but I would love to come and see you.
Oh, that would be nice.
Well,
Oh,
you're
God.
so close. Yeah, you're
I
so
haven't-
special.
I haven't had the shot, you know.
Oh, you haven't?
No, but
Yeah.
I'm masked up and I don't go anywhere. I can't even get my mail now because of 2 steps.
Oh, goodness. Is someone
Yeah.
helping you with that?
Yes,
Oh,
my
good.
friend.
Okay. And you be sure to let Sally know, or pastoral care, because they have people ready, willing, and able. There's a list of people willing to do things.
Hey, they are so wonderful.
I know.
Everybody's been so good to me. I have no complaints. I mean,
I know.
I'm really lucky and blessed.
Yes.
And I so wish I'd have gotten lessons from you.
Well, I'm going to
oh,
have
God.
some online, and you won't have to leave home to do it.
Oh, really?
So do you want me to let you know?
Well, I can try. My hands and everything are got kind of shot right now. I'm
Well,
hoping
sometimes
it'll
it's
come
just
back.
meditative to watch it too, you know, the water and the color. And so just you
Oh,
do what,
yeah.
do what you can and what you want.
Every time I'm looking at almost anything, I'm thinking of colors to put together and stuff like that. My mind is there, that and music. And I can't play
Wonderful.
music at all anymore, but I'm hoping I get enough back that I can do something. Because I miss that stuff.
Well, we miss you.
Like I miss my parents.
Yeah.
I miss you all. Gosh, I can't tell you.
Well, I'm
I
so
hope
glad to
that-
have this time for a couple minutes to say how I think Chad is keeping us connected because we're visiting.
Well, that was nice.
Thanks so
Thank you, Chair.
for your service. Yeah, I can put you guys in a separate room
Really?
if that works. Because I don't want to be eavesdropping.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh, we're not going to say anything bad. Are we?
Well, wait a minute, Marie.
Well, speak for yourself. No, let's have fun. What the heck?
So Chad, how do we do that?
Okay, let me let's see here. Why don't I move you to where Marie is? Let me try something. Okay.
This is a treat.
I know.
Are you there? Let's see. Let me try something. I'm gonna recreate. And let me create 2 rooms. Assign manually. Oops. Okay, here we go. All right, you should get a notice.
I got to join.
Say to join.
Thank you, Chad.
Yeah.
Me too. Thank you, Chad. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I'm so grateful, Chad, that you're there with Namaqua.
Yeah. So great meeting you. And I know we'll be in touch.
Yes, please.
Let's see. Are you okay, you haven't joined room 1 yet. No, you have. There we go. my sunglasses? Where are they?
Come up here. Pick it up.
Hey, good puppy.
Eat your food, puppy. Go get.